Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of Box in the Garage. I'm your host Johnny Box. Today we're going to be taking you through what it's like driving an old truck in 2020. Well, let's start with the most obvious, which is what people think when they see you driving something like this, which, to be honest with you, most people stop and stare. I'm not exactly sure why they all stop and stare. Some probably in approval, some probably in disapproval, but I don't really care. I feel good driving it. Also, second thing you'll notice is the color, and you get the same two reactions. Now this is a 1987 Ford Bronco, of course, which was the first year that they introduced this front end design. Some people don't really care for it. I don't mind it. It's just another Ford front end to me, but what I do like about it is it's big. Compared to most of the other around this era, front end just don't look as big as it does on this era. So the next thing we'll move to is the mirrors, which I'll be honest with you, they're pretty terrible. They're pretty much there for appearance, not much else, but hey, at least you're road legal. Well, what about cargo area, I hear you ask? Well, good news, the Bronco's got a lot of cargo area. Let's see. Another thing to remember about driving old vehicles, sometimes not everything works, but you can see inside you got your latch. You open it up. We've actually got quite a bit of room in here. My fluids milk crate. If you drive an old vehicle, you're going to want one of these because it likely burns oil, leaks coolant, leaks power steering fluid, leaks transmission fluid, all that kind of stuff. You need to know what it does so that you can check those fluids and make sure that they're full. Also, toolbox. It's handy to have a few tools. You never know what's going to magically go wrong today. So here we are in the engine compartment. Might not seem like anything special to you, but it's because it's not. Got a pretty standard 302 Windsor V8 under the hood. EFI, this is actually the first year that Ford started putting EFI in their trucks, which is a positive and a negative. I'll come back to that in just a minute. Obviously, if you've seen this, you've been watching my channel, and I appreciate it. Thanks. Keep watching. And if you haven't and you want to see more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button or the like button, whatever you want to do, all of it. I'd appreciate it. Thanks. Now, back to why pros and cons of first year EFI. EFI in and of itself is a good thing. It is a much more efficient fuel delivery system than carbureted, which is what they had in the past. But being that it's the first year that they started putting it in trucks, there can be some problems. And you do run into more problems when you find change years of different things. And this one is a pretty major change year. So now we move on to the interior, which, let's just say Ford made some interesting choices in this era. As you can see, it's a bit of a reach to the stereo. Kind of a pain, not the biggest deal in the world, but it's something that kind of you notice. Pretty standard, automatic, which makes it easy, as well as over here on this side, we have the blinkers. Pretty standard stuff, One weird thing, normally you'd flick your blinker stalk to kick on your brights. Not the case with this. In this case, down here, I don't know if you can see that with my foot, that's the bright switch. Anyway, nothing crazy. This came equipped with AC, but it does not work. What we have now are window AC. That's all we got. It does the job though. This thing surprisingly stays pretty cool while you're driving. The saddle blanket seats make it way better. Anyway, lots of cubbies. Ashtray, of course, gotta have that. Now you might think that this strap here is actually for holding pens and stuff, but you'd be wrong. What's it for? It's for these things that we used to have called maps. And it's your map holder, so you can pull it down and quickly use it while driving down the road, as my father did plenty of times. And just for reference, opening up a map while you're driving covers up a bit of your field of view, but we all survived, huh? So on some of these older vehicles, you'll notice that there is actually 2 keys. The first is this silver one, and that's for the ignition, and the second is this bronze one, which is for all your door locks and the back switch if it worked. But let's get her moving, see how she does down the road. There's one thing I will say about this. The acceleration's pretty good, but only when you're at slow speeds. So it's the low end torque that really helps you out, but once you get up to high speeds, you can't really get going. So the overtaking of people is kind of difficult, but also it's pretty loud when you get on her. But let's hear it. Maybe you can kind of see what it's like speeding up, but it does what it needs to do. It gets you from point A to point B, and that's what it needs to do. And you look pretty cool while you're driving. One thing I will say about it is, once you get up to a little bit higher speeds, the road noise and the exhaust noise gets a lot worse, not to mention just wind noise. One thing that's actually a positive that most would think would be a negative is parking this. It's surprisingly not bad, that being because it can turn so sharp. Parking isn't bad because this thing turns on a dime, so turning into a parking spot ain't bad, and if you learn how to back up and reverse, you can park anywhere you want to. The steering's another thing that's kind of iffy. I don't know if I got you at a good sun angle to see it, but when I move it this much, I mean, we're talking that much, I have no movement of steering whatsoever. Another thing that I can't emphasize enough is, man, you feel kind of cool driving. You feel really cool driving. I mean, well, folks, there we have it. A 1987 in 2020. Not that bad. Obviously, it's not a brand new vehicle, but it don't cost the same as a brand new vehicle either. Keep that in mind. Plus, you get a lot of cool factors from it. I mean, and another thing that's great about these is they'll never look older than they do today. I know you see trucks that are 5 years old now. 5-year-old truck looks super old, but this, yeah, it looks old, but it ain't ever gonna look older. If I had to rate driving this, I'd probably have to give it about 28 out of a bushel. That's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty much what you get. When you buy an old truck, don't expect a brand new one. But it ain't too bad. Anyway, this has been Box in a Garage. I've been your host, Johnny Box. If you have any more questions about Guinevere, or what it's like driving old vehicles, or what you need to know about driving an old vehicle, go ahead and leave it down in the comments. If you like what you saw, I'd appreciate a like. And if you want to see more of me, hit that subscribe button, because I'm coming at you every week, Wednesday at 5. Stay tuned. It's been Box in the Garage.